Well, hello everybody. I want to give a quick shout out today to the outstanding ministerial team, the lead pastors of the great NCR. God bless you guys and gals. It's been a great week. I've talked to several of you every day. I'm talking to different ones, and I've heard great reports and your courage and your wisdom. And so I tip my hats to you in these extraordinary times. You are showing and demonstrating extraordinary leadership, and I thank you and commend you. But let me run a couple things by you today, and then I want to dovetail back to that idea of being extraordinary, how to be extraordinary in extraordinary times. You know, average is okay during average times. But when you are living in extraordinary times, it requires extraordinary leadership. And that's what I'm seeing in the North Central region. But I want to talk about it and how to be more intentional about it. But anyway, we'll get to that in just a second. But a couple housekeeping things here. We've got a birthday coming up this week, Thursday, July the 23rd. Brother Aaron Malsbury, the pastor at Aberdeen. Brother Aaron will turn 37 years old. And so he may be the only Atlanta Falcons fan in the entire region, North and South Dakota and Montana. So God bless him. I hope at least on his birthday, the Atlanta Falcons would do something right. I don't know how all that works. But happy birthday, Aaron, a little early here today. Then we have two significant ministerial anniversaries. We have a sophomore ordained minister, her second year, July the 24th, 2018. Tracy Humphrey, our minister there in Sioux Falls. She became officially an ordained minister. So Tracy, a shout out to you. God bless you, and thank you for your commitment and your hard work there in Sioux Falls. And then 15 years of being an ordained minister. Brother Cory Pfeiffer, our pastor at the Refuge Church right here in Bismarck. Pastor Cory, 15 years as an ordained minister. God bless you. Thank you for your longevity, your commitment, and you're doing a great job. So I'm proud to have you on the NCR ministerial team. You are a leader, and you're going to fool around here and become an elder before you know it. 15 years already under your belt. So thumbs up to you, man. And then got 3 dates that I want to run by you for the month of August, to go ahead and put them on your calendar. Right now, of course, we're watching the COVID-19 issue very closely here in the NCR. But right now, it's looking pretty good that everything's going to continue as is with youth camp. And Pastor Chris, our regional youth director, he'll keep us posted on it. But August 3rd through the 7th at Crystal Springs, we've got a great camp planned, and it's all hands on deck, business as usual right now, and it's looking very promising that everything's going to follow through. And so get those applications in and be in prayer, and let's have a great summer. We need some good news, and let's let our kids have some good news and have some fun this summer. And then our monthly regional prayer call will be August the 13th, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And ministers and laity are invited, and so help me promote that. And pastors, I'll be sending you the contact login information on how to make that happen. And then in August, we'll have a lead pastor Zoom call on August the 25th, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And so that'll be kind of at the end of August. We'll be looking into the fall. I'll have some clarity by then, hopefully, on the ministers' meeting and just different things. And then just both of these Zoom meetings, it just gives us a chance over these huge span of miles that separate us sometime, that we can kind of get together, at least hear each other's voice and see each other's face. So those 3 dates, and I'll include that in the email that I send to you. And then, as I shared with you last week, I've got some pulpits that I am trying to fill right now. And so I'm happy to report to you that the Beulah Church made a decision on a pastor last week and gave a strong vote of confidence to Pastor Justin Countryman, the current pastor at Big Timber there in Montana. And so I congratulate Beulah and the Countryman, a great church and a great couple. I think it's going to be a great marriage. And so I congratulate them. And Brother Justin, God bless you. You're going to be in our prayers. I'm proud of you, and I know you'll do a great job. And he and Jessica and their family will be moving, and their first Sunday will be the first Sunday in August. And so that's coming up. So obviously now, help me pray. My heart is turning toward Big Timber, another great church. Matter of fact, the oldest church in our region, one of the oldest in the Church of God. Precious people, a great community. Sanja and I love that community, and we want to get the right person, the right family that will go in there and serve that great church. And so help me pray about that. So those are some of the things that's going on in our region, and I'll keep you posted as the things begin to develop. But now let's get back to being extraordinary. When being extraordinary is required. All right, let's talk about it. We're not in average times. We're in extraordinary times that are going to require extraordinary leadership. Here's the good news. You can be extraordinary. We often think about extraordinary people are these people that have this great genius kind of ability. You know, they are just, it's kind of a layup for them to be extraordinary. There are a few people with an above average talent. And so they do stand out sometime. But history teaches us, both in the church and in the secular world, the extraordinary people that we would consider extraordinary, they were not extraordinary on the intellectual chart or the strength chart or the talent chart. They were just good, ordinary people that stepped up in an extraordinary way when it was required. You can do that. We can do that. And that's what this region needs. That's what your church needs. And that's what God needs from us, to be extraordinary. So how do we do that? Okay, average is not okay during these extraordinary times. Well, there's 4 things that I want to highlight today. And I'm just going to comment on them briefly, and then maybe we can think about them and talk about them later, even in our phone calls during the week. But the first one is just simply grit, extraordinary effort and endurance. I know a situation that 2 people were working out on a job site, by just the 2 of them, and through a freak accident, one of them severed their aorta vein, or not the aorta, but whatever that vein is. You can tell I'm not a doctor. I'm not even an average doctor. But this vein right here, and they were bleeding out. Matter of fact, they'd passed out almost just within just a few seconds, and the man's colleague, his workmate, was there with him, and the guys fell out on the ground, and so he had to immediately put pressure there where that blood was coming out to keep the man from completely bleeding out and dying. He's out by himself on a work site, and he's trying to get his phone out. He's trying to call 911, trying to get some help, but through it all, he had to keep the pressure. It took extraordinary endurance just to keep on doing the right thing during that time. If to have, so I'm tired, I can't do this, I'm stressed out, I've got to quit, would have been to consign that other man, his colleague, his workmate, to almost instant death. He was fighting to save his life. And guys and gals, we're fighting to save our churches. More importantly, we're fighting to save our people, even our communities. There's people counting on us, and we do not have the luxury of quitting. It is going to require extraordinary endurance and hanging in there and just going another day. Not because it's fun, not because we feel like it, but we've just got to do it. And that's what is required to be extraordinary. When everybody else quits, you're still hammering away. And those are the people that will remember as extraordinary. And to make things matter, and to make matters worse, getting back to the man that's he's passed out and blood's pouring out of his neck here, and the guy is putting pressure there. The guy didn't wake up all of a sudden and say, "Oh, by the way, man, thank you so much. I appreciate so much what you're doing." No, we get thanked for these kind of things long after the fact. They don't thank us during this. And I know in talking to you, you've got people on one hand that say, "Pastor, why don't you lighten up and let's get back to normal?" And then you got other people, they're frightened and "Pastor, why don't you're going too fast," and you're caught in between, and there's issues like that swirling around every day, and you're just trying to hang in there and save lives. But here's the good news. Here's the good news. Even though you may not be getting thanked right now, you may not be appreciated right now, people in pain, people that are frightened, people that are worried, the niceties kind of go out the window. But Paul reminds us in Galatians 6 and 9, let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not lose heart. So you just got to hang in there. Extraordinary grit, endurance, and effort. Which leads me to the second thing. The way to do that is going to require extraordinary preparation. There's a thing called compassion fatigue. If you're not careful, you care and you give and you just give and you care and then you care and give some more and then you give some more and you care some more. And after a while, you're empty. You're running on fumes. And so I want to encourage you. This is going to take extraordinary leaning hard into God. You don't have the devotions is not a luxury right now. Devotions and private time with God. You may want to pray an hour, but you may just want to listen an hour. You may just want to be still, read your Bible, but staying in the Word, spending time with God. You got to lean hard to be prepared to keep your finger on the bleeding artery. Is going to require you to lean hard into God. He is your source of strength. So this is not a luxury. This is not something that we get to when we can, but it's going to be required. It's going to take extraordinary preparation. It's going to take extraordinary taking care of yourself. This is not the time to stay up at night trying to tune it all out and vegging out on Netflix. It may be something harmless, but you've got to get your rest. You've got to eat well. Comfort food that may be comfort, but boy, it's not going to be good for you. When you get tired, when you get fatigued, that's when you are most prone to make bad decisions. That's when you're most prone to get snippy with people, to get short with people. And so do not allow yourself to get fatigued. Do not take care of yourself physically. And then extraordinary preparation in what you say, what you put out there, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's a sermon. I've talked to several different church leaders, my fellow overseers, and they have pastors. I know one overseer had to put a pastor on administrative leave. Good man, but he put something out on Facebook that in these sensitive times when people already, their feelings are on their sleeve, they're almost looking for an opportunity to be offended, and he put something out there. I know he didn't mean it the way that it was taken, but he ended up having to go in hiding, he and his family, with threats and all of this stuff because he didn't think through what he was saying. Extraordinary preparedness, being careful what we say, how we say it, and the tone that's behind it. And so battle compassion fatigue by leaning hard into God. Get your rest, eat well, and be careful, be guarded in what you say. Prepare yourself before you speak. And then the third thing is extraordinary focus. And I call this the toilet paper principle. I have a rule that I call pastor expectations and lead later. And there is a time that we go into uncharted territory. There's a time that we build a new building, we try a new ministry, we launch out into the deep, but people are not ready until their expectations, until their needs are taken care of. They're not going to be ready to follow you into the unknown. And this, of all things, back in March, what happened when all this started crashing down? People had this sudden urge, I've got to have toilet paper. And so the leaders of our nation, Fortune 500 CEOs, the issue of the day was not some great new product or we're going to build this new plant. The issue of the day is how can we get toilet paper on the shelves? And so it's going to take extraordinary focus during this time to stay focused on the things that really matter, what your people perceive that they need. And so stay focused. You can't ease up on the basics, on making those daily calls, preparing those care baskets or care bags and taking them to your shut-ins, sending out that daily email or that daily Facebook page. More than ever, you've got to communicate your love, over communicate your care, over communicate touch for your people because they're stressed. And so it's going to take extraordinary focus on the fundamental things. Right now, pastor expectations. Do all that great leading later on. And that time will come. And then, number 4, this may catch you off guard a little bit, but it's going to take extraordinary poise. You may not be aware of this, but being a good pastor requires being a good actor. I'm not talking about being a fake or phony or hypocrite. I'm talking about stepping into the role of being a pastor. It's stepping into that leadership role. Just like Aaron, God had special garments made for him. God had special rites and rituals that he had to do. And it put him in they immediately knew that's the priest coming in. Well, you and I, as pastors, we have to step into a role. Paul said the things you have learned and received and heard, and get this, and saw in me. He walked it out. He practiced what he preached. He acted courageous even when his knees might have been knocking. He acted confident. You have to be a good actor. You have to do right. It takes extraordinary poise. When everybody else is falling apart, you just stay right on task. Keep a smile on your face. Keep your words calm. Keep your words encouraging. It takes extraordinary poise. I remember years ago, I believe he was probably in the military, but a mentor in my life, he said, David, you've got to have good posture. When you step into a room, when you step behind the pulpit, when you step up on the platform, people need to feel like, okay, he's in charge. He knows what he's doing. You may not have a clue what you're doing. He said, but you got to come across like you're in control of the thing, not being controlling, but being in control. And here, I never forgot this. This is what he told me. He said, picture, you've got a metal hook with a string attached to it. And you take that metal hook just before you step through the door, before you leave your office and step out into the church or step into a hospital room or whatever. And you take that metal hook and you put it into your breastbone. This is what he learned. Somebody told him, put it into your breastbone, and then you pull the rope, and you pull that, and you put your chest out, and you step in there. Not to be a fake, but you've got a role to play. Those people need you, and so you have poise. Extraordinary poise, playing the role, acting the part, that God is faithful, that he is sufficient, and that you're going to get through this. And so you can do all those. It doesn't take extraordinary talent, just grit and preparation, taking care of yourself, focus, and poise. So anyway, there you go. God love you. You guys are doing this. You ladies are doing this. And I just want you to be more intentional about it. Think about these things. Let's keep running to win. Jesus is coming soon. And I want him to find us about our Father's business. I love you, I honor you, and I thank God for each of you. See you around the bend.